Hello, legal-minded friends. I thought Hollywood was calling me on the 10th of June, 2024, when I received an email. Who was the email from? A documentary film producer. You may have heard of them. They're Unsolved Productions in California, and they are best known for their work on the long-running series Unsolved Mysteries. Whoa, was I excited. So Unsolved Mysteries has had a reboot on Netflix, and they were doing a project which aimed to tell Karen Reid's story, the investigation, media frenzy, and of course the trial. They said they wanted to show how far and wide the story of this case has traveled, and they wrote that they would love to interview me. Well, okay, you got it. I'm excited. Before setting up the Zoom, I had to sign a contract release to not disclose this prior to the documentary being released. In law, we have to keep a lot of confidential information all of the time, but this was especially hard because I was so excited to be a part of what I explained to the producer was the trial of 2024. In my mind, I compared it to the O.J. Simpson, who was charged, in 1994. In my view, I told the producer she was spot on that this case has got so much media attention, similar to the trial against O.J. Simpson in 1995. As that case against O.J. Simpson had the same media frenzy. It had the same allegations of being framed by law enforcement, and Karen Reid also has a dream team, which was originally a reference given to the prominent group of lawyers for O.J. Simpson in 1995. My interest in this case was that Karen Reid could be any one of us. And as my videos on my YouTube channel, Legal Minded Friends, was to share real-life stories explaining the processes of law, and this case has so many teachable moments and great examples of how Karen Reid is being treated unfairly by the legal system. I felt the prosecutors spent far too much time defending the witnesses they put forward, instead of them focusing on finding the truth. And the aim of my videos provide a visual to the legal process in a way that the viewer can use critical thinking and come to their own views. I thought Karen Reid was overcharged, and that because of the investigation, it would be hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Karen Reid was guilty of causing John O'Keefe's death. The defense attorneys, by saying she was framed, meant they had to prove their theory instead of the Commonwealth having the burden of proof when the defendant has a third-party culprit defense. So, when they use this legal strategy, the defense then has to argue that someone other than the defendant committed the crime. So I thought they put themselves in a bit of a hard spot, given that the investigation was so bad. And I thought, we don't know who actually killed John O'Keefe, and we may never know. In my opinion, the Commonwealth did not meet their burden of proof that Karen Reid did it. So we talked about a lot of things, the children testifying and much, much more. I highlighted the analysis I did on my now over 50 videos on this case. But I received an email on the 4th of February 2025 saying they had to cut the video blogger segment, which included my interview. They thought my answers were insightful and very interesting. However, in the end, the collection of blogger interviews they gathered ultimately did not mesh well with what the project ended up being. I was disappointed, but I was even more disappointed to find out my part of the world, that being in England, does not have access to watching this documentary. So hopefully they'll release it on YouTube or another platform where I can watch it. They did say they had Netflix, but It just says it's not available in my part of the world. So since I cannot watch it from what I have seen in the clips on YouTube, it has balanced the stark differences in the views of those who think Karen Read is responsible for John O'Keefe's death and those of us who believe justice for John O'Keefe remains a mystery, as the evidence against Karen Read is a result of a corrupt police investigation. That's my view. I heard one line in one of the clips that does disturb me. It went something like this: you're either pro Karen Read or you're pro police. That is not true in my opinion. I am pro police and I'm pro law enforcement. I am a retired lawyer who has worked in the criminal justice, for several decades. And that is why I cover these cases, because this police investigation has left a bad taste in my mouth. And any honest law enforcement would say this investigation has so many errors. Anyone who understands how the law is supposed to be applied knows something just isn't right. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like the Commonwealth is persecuting Karen Read, not prosecuting her. Near the beginning of this video, I discussed the defense shifting the burden. Let's listen to Dr. Phil in a conversation he had with Jordan Peterson.
I've seen it in the real world in working with juries. I think one of the biggest myths is the burden of proof is on the prosecution. That's a myth. That may be written down in the rule books, but if you're really going to defend someone, you better present the jury with an alternative explanation.
Right.
Just proving a negative is very hard to do to begin with, but they want to hear, if we're not down here for the reason we're told we're down here, then you better give me a alternative explanation of how this happened and why we're down here. And until you give them an alternative explanation, you're fighting an uphill battle for sure.
Wow, how spot on is Dr. Phil. And we have proof of what he is saying. When one of the jurors spoke out after the trial, he said something like, they thought the defense's arguments and experts were distractors. I couldn't really follow that line of thinking, but after hearing Dr. Phil, I thought this is exactly what happened in the Karen Read trial. The defense couldn't really ID someone else. They said that Karen Read was framed, but why? To protect someone who attended the party? Because they didn't disclose that Colin Albert was there? Or was it Brian Higgins in a jealous rage? We just didn't know. They hinted, and the jury was left thinking, well, here, let me play you what this juror said. I couldn't remember where the juror talked about the defense's expert witnesses were distractors. Maybe someone in the chat can recall where the juror said this. I couldn't remember if it was on Aidan Carney's channel or Court TV. Anyway, let's listen to what I did catch him saying.
I believe that as the case, given the circumstances, that it was not very clear. But again, some individuals just believed at the circumstance that Karen and John were there at the same time, and John ultimately was killed.
So basically, I think he was saying Karen Read was the last one to see John O'Keefe, and she was the one on trial. What do you think? Is it exactly what Dr. Phil was saying? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. And let me know if you watched the TV series A Body in the Snow, the trial of Karen Read. I really enjoyed the interview by the film producer, Caitlin, and I felt the questions were fair and balanced. It is a shame they are not using the video bloggers interviews, I was really looking forward to my analysis being on a well-respected TV series that produces unsolved mysteries. Not too shabby. Darn, I guess I'll have to wait for the next time Hollywood calls. And of course I say that in jest. In one of the trailer clips, they say Karen Read is the happiest defendant accused of murder. Maybe she's in shock. One minute she is with her boyfriend and the next he is dead. And ever since she has been fighting for her freedom and her life. John O'Keefe's family took out a restraining order. Many people may not know that, preventing her from attending his funeral. I hear the internet chatter and I read people's comments that Karen Read has not openly cried in public. I wonder if they've ever heard about the 7 stages of grief: shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. What stage of grief do you think Karen Read is at? I will leave you with an article from the medicalnewstoday.com, which discusses the 1969 5 stages of grief. However, more recently, a grief expert discusses 2 additional stages. By leaving a comment, you may help someone else that will read your comment. And of course, I love to read all comments as they are valued, and together we can be more informed. And this information may help you or someone you know. In the meantime, on this channel, you'll find a variety of playlists to suit every curiosity about the justice system. And we provide you with a visual to information and the process. Going through a legal worry is devastating, and the Who Knew and Why Me playlists are designed to help you or someone you know. So please like this video if you like this kind of content. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified when I'm going live or upload another video. I'm Karen Cole from Legal Minded Friends. Information is power, meaning if you know something, you can make decisions that are right for you.